Hi all Heist runners, welcome to my 3.22 Heist guide. That's it, it's a new league, that means it's a new Heist guide. Now, there's not going to be any gameplay in this one, and it's going to be, compared to my other Heist guides, it's going to be quite a shorter video because nothing's changed in the patch notes. They haven't touched Heist at all, so we're all good on that front. I have deleted the 3.21 Heist Google document because it's no longer relevant. I have prepared a new 3.22 Heist document in Google, so I will bring that on the screen right now. Please note that I still haven't figured out how to make Google Docs dark mode. If there's a kind person out there that wishes to help me with that, comment below. That would be awesome. In the meantime, it is going to be a bright white screen for the next few, so if that's hurtful to you, I apologise, but it is incoming as soon as I drag it onto the screen incrementally. It comes, and there we go. So let's go through this document. There are more documents at the bottom of this document, that should say more links. Let's just change that. Oh dear, there we go. Again, patch notes, they didn't affect us Heist runners, only builds. At this passive tree I have done a basic tree. This is how I would start Heist running, with a lot of choice left over depending on which mechanic I was chasing outside of Heist. That is, with the recent addition of the new expedition node and ritual nodes, allowing you to do them basically faster with a bit of a downside, it opens up the ball game. Because of where the Heist nodes are, we pretty much hit most of the tree. This one's a little bit harder to get to, but not too bad. So this is the basic setup. We come straight up the center because we're not hitting anything else. We start straight, because if you want to hit strong boxes or essences, they're right there. We come in obviously to go up to secret stash. We come down to what is basically what I call the Huck node. I haven't taken Huck. Some people like him, some people don't. Either or, but that 12% chance to get an extra smuggler's cash is awesome. We've blocked every other content. Again, if you want to take some or one of these out, feel free to do so. But we've also taken Stream of Consciousness to make sure we are getting the absolute most chance out of Heist without having the crafting option on the modifier. We come up through here, we have picked up the shrines because it's quick nodes and the shrines are quite awesome. We've got all of these Heist nodes, and we've come up here for shrine nodes, and we've come up here for the covetous shrine because when it does proc, it's awesome. Down here for friends in high places via the level 5, purely for the more rogue markers. I am a casing the joint proud runner, and I also know Honor Among Thieves enjoyer, so I've taken both of those. Then we come down here for the most important part, in my opinion, the finer arts. More chance to get agility and deception contracts. Now personally, I never have a problem running for Gianna reveals. I tend not to run blueprints inside a league. I tend to sell them because it's easier. I like contract running, so it doesn't bother me too much that I'm not running with Gianna. I run agility and deception contracts. Agility because if you have a cast when damage taken molten shell setup, sorry I forgot the setup then, or a way of mitigating fizz damage, the agility beams do nothing to you, so it might as well be running deception contracts. Unless you want the Gianna reveals, then agility is akin to deception. Engineering ones, I just leave them on the floor. They are not worth picking up. Engineering has never been good, never will be good until they change it. So that's the basic one. As you can see, that is only 85 points. Plenty of room for you to change, enjoy, add or remove, but that is the basic setup that I would go for. Moving on down, What makes a good heist build if you don't want to use one of the tried and tested ones? Movement speed, life and defenses. You need enough movement speed to make a heist feel enjoyable if you want to do it fast. More life and defenses so you don't die, because what's the point of going into heist if you're going to be dying, because then you lose everything and then you lose your contract. And then it's DPS, but if you are doing the Z DPS or attackless build, then you want a lot of crowd control. I don't cover those builds because I don't like them, but there are plenty of people out there who can advise you on that. Hit up the TFT Discord in the Heist channel and that'll set you up there. There's plenty of people that run them. How do you gain movement speed? Well, that's quite simple really. There are, in my opinion, 3 things you're gonna need. Devoto's Devotion Unique Helm, because it's got a helm with mass amounts of movement speed. It's also got chaos resistance on there, which is awesome. Gurrican's Flight is my favourite pair of boots. It doesn't have life on it per se, but it's got life on it for when you're moving, life regen when you're moving. It's got max life per dexterity, and it gives you immunity to some ground effects, so that's great. If you don't want to use a unique Gurrican's Flight, then you're going to run with a rare pair of boots with 35% MS. If you're only looking for 30%, then pick up any pair of boot, any unique or rare with 30%. But ultimately, in my opinion, Gurrican's Flight or a well-crafted rare with 35% movement speed. And then the all-important phase run, the 4-link phase run, life tap, level 1, 2020 phase run, 2020 increased duration, 2020 efficacy, anomalous efficacy if you have the currency, and then a level 1, doesn't even have to be quality, life tap, just so you're saving your mana. Get those 3 things on you and everything else kind of falls in line. After that, it is dependent on the build you are running, because it depends on your ascendancy, it depends where you are on the Atlas passive tree, etc, etc. Depends on your budget. Don't use a headhunter in Heist, it's not worth it. Mage Blood, definitely worth it if you have the currency or you're one of those lucky people to get 1 drop. After that, we've got the common budget builds. Now these builds you can pretty much do with stuff off the floor. The only one that's different is Occultist Death Oath, because you do need that armor. However, they're usually cheap as well. They're really cheap. You can either buy the cards when they're cheap and assemble the stack of divination cards yourself, or just better off buying the armor. It does need to be 6-socketed. It does not need to be linked. There are 2 ways of doing that. Buy one that's already 6-socketed, or buy one and then just use a crafting bench and 350 jewelers and bam, you've got your sockets. If you're after specific colours, then again you use the branch. Remember to do your off colours first. Generally speaking, the colours for Death Oath Occultist is 2 of each colour. So you would go down to 2 sockets, force on green or blue, then go, this is all using the crafting bench, 3 sockets to try and get the, say for example you go down 2 sockets, you just go 2 blue, you then go to 3 sockets looking for the green. Once you get the 3rd socket, again green, or if you've got the chromes you can do 2 blue and 1 green to force it that way. Then you're after the 4th socket turning, and then the last 2 are red, but the armor is a strength armor, so the red sockets 5 and 6 should be pretty easy to do. However, it's completely your choice how you go about getting the right colours on that armor. Pathfinder Poison Concoction, it's been hit a couple of times but it's still solid. And last league we had Deadeye, Artillery Ballista and Lightning Arrow. Even without the Vengeance Cascade 3.21, it runs through Heist really well. It can be a little bit squishy if you're not au fait with movement and positioning. You're generally just running through, dropping your artillery ballistas without focused ballista, because the idea is you're dropping the 4 ballistas as you're running and then they do the damage while you're running through, and then you're just hitting lightning arrow when you come across rares or big magic packs. That's how you run that build. All of those are pretty budget unless you're going you know, really ham on it, but they can all be done with stuff picked off of the floor. Can all be done in 5 links. Toxic Rain Totem with Caustic Arrow can be done on 2 4 links. As a raider, I know that because I've done it multiple times. The other ones kind of do need 6 links. Jug RF is the one I currently use in Path of Exile Standard to do my heist running. It doesn't have any legacy gear other than a legacy Quicksilver. Even without that though, with a normal Quicksilver, it runs fine. Yes, Jug is losing a 10% movement speed, but if you're running Jug RF, you're not doing it because of the movement speed. You're doing it because you don't die and it kills everything. It can run through all of the traps without dying. It can tank the agility beams, and you 6-link your RF, so it just kills most things as it hits, or at least keeps them at bay. And then you have your 3-link fire trap for those pesky rares. And you don't need to worry about getting through doors because it just stands there and takes damage with its regen. Hopefully, I know the 3.22 has changed some stuff for the Jug, but I watched Pox's patch notes video and he said there's nothing changed for Juggernaut RF. So he's the RF guy. There we go. That's the most common budget builds used. After that, you're getting into extreme budget builds, and pretty much if you go that way, it's slap a mage blood on pretty much anything, and as long as you obey the rules of life and defenses, and then DPS / crowd control, you're pretty fine. Then we come down to this page. Like I said, all other information in 3.21 complete heist guide, apart from builds on Atlas passive tree. Everything else is the same, so there's that there. I've included the heist road gear because that hasn't changed, and then the heist cheat sheet right down at the bottom. So there we go. That is a nice quick 3.22 guide on heist.